20. R&B stars who walked away from fame. What if we told you that some of the most powerful voices in R&B didn't fade away? They walked away. At the height of their fame, with Grammys in hand and chart-topping hits, these artists turned their backs on the spotlight and chose freedom over fame. Why would they give it all up? Was it industry pressure, personal pain, or something even deeper? In this powerful episode from Legends of Black Excellence, we reveal the untold stories behind 20 R&B legends who disappeared by choice. Watch till the end, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep their voices alive. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill wasn't just a rising star, she was a cultural force. After first gaining fame with the Fugees in the mid-1990s, her artistry, charisma, and lyrical brilliance made her a standout in hip-hop and R&B. But it was her 1998 solo debut, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that catapulted her to global superstardom. The album, infused with soul, reggae, and hip-hop, addressed themes of love, identity, and motherhood with rare honesty. It sold over 19 million copies worldwide and won 5 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, making her the first woman to achieve that feat with a debut. Yet as the world expected a triumphant follow-up, Lauryn did something shocking. She vanished. No sophomore album, no tour, no press. Her silence baffled fans and critics alike. Rumors swirled, was it burnout, ego, legal trouble? But Lauryn later clarified in interviews that her retreat was intentional. She described the entertainment industry as spiritually damaging and emotionally exploitative. She spoke of being pressured to fit a mold to prioritize profit over purpose. In her words, the music business tried to force-feed her identity, something she ultimately refused. Instead of playing the game, Lauryn chose herself. She became deeply spiritual, prioritized her 6 children, and sought personal healing over public validation. Though she never released a second studio album, she occasionally reappears for surprise performances or intimate live sets. These moments remind the world that her voice, raw, powerful, unmistakable, hasn't lost its magic. Despite being absent from the charts, Lauryn Hill's impact hasn't faded. Her music continues to inspire new generations of artists from Beyoncé to J. Cole. She remains a symbol of integrity in a business often driven by image. Lauryn didn't lose her way, she simply took a different path, one grounded in truth, not fame. Her silence spoke volumes, and in walking away she became even more legendary. D'Angelo. D'Angelo was once hailed as the future of soul. Born Michael Eugene Archer, he burst onto the scene in 1995 with his critically acclaimed debut album, Brown Sugar, which introduced a smooth, sultry sound that redefined neo-soul. His raw talent, deep vocals, and organic instrumentation set him apart instantly. But it was his 2000 follow-up Voodoo that cemented his status as an R&B visionary. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and won a Grammy for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. Its standout track, untitled How Does It Feel, became a cultural phenomenon, especially for its provocative shirtless video that turned D'Angelo into an unexpected sex symbol. However, the fame that came with Voodoo took a heavy toll. Rather than being celebrated for his musical genius, D'Angelo felt objectified. Crowds screamed for his body, not his art. He grew increasingly disillusioned, uncomfortable with being reduced to an image instead of appreciated for his soul. Behind the scenes, he began to battle alcoholism, depression, and personal trauma. The pressure to live up to the public's expectations, combined with internal struggles, led him to withdraw from the spotlight completely. For over a decade, D'Angelo remained absent. No music, no interviews, fans speculated endlessly. But in truth, he was healing. He entered rehab focused on mental clarity and refused to return to the stage until he felt ready not just artistically, but spiritually. In 2014, he made a powerful comeback with Black Messiah, an album filled with political awareness, layered production, and emotional depth. The project was released suddenly without any hype and was met with critical acclaim. Still, D'Angelo didn't chase the spotlight. He did limited appearances and maintained a life far removed from celebrity chaos. His story isn't just about talent, it's about reclaiming one's identity. D'Angelo didn't disappear, he chose restoration over burnout. And in doing so, he reminded the world that true artistry doesn't need to shout. Sometimes it whispers from the shadows. Tina Campbell. Tina Campbell, best known as one half of the Grammy-winning gospel duo. Mary Mary captivated audiences with her powerful voice and unapologetic faith. Alongside her sister Erica, the group blended gospel roots with contemporary R&B flair, producing crossover hits like Shackles Praise You that topped both gospel and mainstream charts in the early 2000s. Their music wasn't just spiritually uplifting, it was commercially successful and culturally relevant. However, behind the joyful performances, Tina was enduring deep personal pain. Her marriage to musician Teddy Campbell was rocked by a devastating revelation her husband had been unfaithful multiple times. The betrayal shattered her emotionally, especially while living under public scrutiny. Instead of hiding her struggles, Tina chose transparency. She openly discussed her heartbreak on their reality show and in interviews, sparking both sympathy and controversy. The pressure to maintain a public image while facing personal trauma became too much. Touring, performing, and constantly being strong wore her down. Tina made the brave decision to step back from the spotlight and focus on her healing. She poured her energy into restoring her marriage, raising her 5 children, and strengthening her faith. In the years that followed, she authored a candid book titled I Need a Day to Pray, and released solo music that reflected her journey of pain, forgiveness, and redemption. Unlike the high-paced life of her Mary Mary days, Tina now operates on her own schedule, only performing when it aligns with her spirit and family values. Tina Campbell's departure from fame was not an end, but a transformation. She chose personal restoration over public applause, proving that healing can be more powerful than any hit record. Her story resonates deeply with fans who value authenticity over perfection, a reminder that faith, family, and forgiveness are sometimes more fulfilling than fame. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson is a rare dual-threat talent, an R&B singer with platinum records and a Hollywood actor starring in billion-dollar franchises. His career began in the late 1990s with the smooth ballad Sweet Lady, which established him as a romantic crooner. He then transitioned into acting, earning roles in major films like Baby Boy Transformers and the Fast and Furious series. His charisma, versatility, and work ethic made him a household name. But as his fame soared, Tyrese's personal life unraveled. A bitter divorce and a contentious custody battle over his daughter left him emotionally depleted. In 2017, a viral video of him crying and pleading for time with his child, "What more do you want from me?" revealed the raw pain he had been suppressing for years. The moment shocked fans and exposed the toll fame had taken on his mental health. Tyrese later admitted that the entertainment industry offered little compassion. He felt used, misunderstood, and pushed to emotional extremes. Rather than suffer in silence, he chose to pause his music and acting career. He stepped away to focus on therapy, spirituality, and fatherhood, all in a quest for peace. During his break, Tyrese wrote a book, spoke openly about mental wellness, and took time to redefine what success meant to him. He returned to music years later with deeply personal work like Black Rose, which focused less on radio appeal and more on emotional truth. Tyrese's journey illustrates the hidden costs of success. Though he could have continued performing for the spotlight, he chose healing and authenticity instead. He didn't just walk away from fame, he walked toward self-preservation. And in doing so, he gave a voice to countless others, struggling behind the curtain of celebrity. Tian T-Boz Watkins. Tian T-Boz Watkins wasn't just a singer, she was the voice and soul of one of the most influential girl groups in music history, TLC. Alongside Lisa Left Eye Lopes and Rosanda Chili, Thomas T-Boz helped redefine what it meant to be bold, real, and socially conscious in R&B. With hits like No Scrubs Waterfalls and Creep TLC, sold over 65 million records worldwide, becoming the best-selling American girl group of all time. Yet while the world saw a strong, stylish performer, T-Boz was fighting a silent battle behind the scenes. Born with sickle cell anemia, a life-threatening blood disorder, she endured chronic pain fatigue and frequent hospitalizations throughout her career. Doctors once told her she wouldn't live past 30, but T-Boz defied the odds. She performed through flare-ups, graced global stages, and refused to let illness define her, even when the group's demanding schedule took a toll on her body. The tragic death of Left Eye in 2002 marked a turning point. The loss devastated her emotionally, and the pressure of continuing without her friend and creative partner became unbearable. Around the same time, T-Boz experienced financial hardship, including filing for bankruptcy, and went through a divorce while raising her daughter as a single mother. Eventually, she made the conscious decision to step back from the spotlight. She prioritized her health and her role as a mother over record deals and tours. Music didn't stop entirely. She released a memoir, some solo work, and even reunited with Chili for selective TLC performances. But the days of non-stop fame chasing were over. T-Boz chose to live, not just survive. She showed that strength isn't just about powering through pain, it's about knowing when to stop and heal. In walking away, she taught millions that your life and well-being are worth more than any award or chart position. Maxwell born Gerald. Maxwell Rivera emerged in the mid-1990s as one of the defining voices of the neo-soul movement. With his debut album, Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite 1996, he captivated listeners with a rich falsetto, lush arrangements, and deeply emotional lyrics. Songs like Ascension, Don't Ever Wonder, and Whenever, Wherever, Whatever earned him critical acclaim and instant fan devotion. His music wasn't flashy, it was intimate, smooth, and soulful, offering a sharp contrast to the glossy R&B dominating the charts at the time. His second album, Embrya 1998, and the Grammy-winning Now 2001 solidified his place among R&B royalty. Fans and industry insiders alike expected Maxwell to continue a steady rise towards superstardom. Instead, he disappeared. For nearly 8 years, from 2001 to 2009, Maxwell was nowhere to be found. No new music, no tours, no interviews. The silence confused many, but Maxwell later revealed that he needed a break. The constant pressure to produce hits, the grind of touring, and the demand for commercial consistency had started to erode his passion. Maxwell admitted he felt disconnected from himself, from the art, and from the meaning behind it all. Rather than burn out or deliver work that lacked soul, he made the bold decision to walk away. During his hiatus, he retreated from public life, focused on personal growth, and waited until he could create from a place of truth. He returned in 2009 with Black Summer's Night, a critically acclaimed comeback that debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. The album proved that taking time off hadn't diminished his magic, it had sharpened it. Maxwell continued to release music at his own pace, far from the churn of industry expectations. His journey is a testament to the value of silence, self-reflection, and slow artistry in a world that demands speed. Maxwell didn't abandon music, he reclaimed it. And in doing so, he reminded us all that true soul can't be rushed. India Arie. Arie wasn't just another R&B singer, she was a spiritual messenger. With her soothing vocals, acoustic melodies, and powerful lyrics, she rose to fame in the early 2000s, earning 7 Grammy nominations for her debut album, Acoustic Soul 2001. Her follow-up Voyage to India won 2 Grammys, and her music resonated deeply with fans seeking authenticity, self-love, and healing. Tracks like Video and I Am Not My Hair became anthems of empowerment, especially for Black women confronting societal standards of beauty. But while the world embraced her voice, the industry tried to change her. India. Arie openly spoke about the pressure she faced to alter her image to be thinner, more glamorous, more marketable. Executives urged her to dress sexier, adopt a commercialized persona, and package herself into a product. Instead of uplifting her truth, the business tried to mold her into someone else. She refused. India. Ari took several breaks from the industry, disillusioned by its obsession with image and sales over message and heart. She described the music world as emotionally manipulative and mentally draining. Despite her accolades and fan base, she began to feel out of place, as though success required her to betray her values. Rather than compromise, she withdrew. She turned to spiritual practices like meditation, healing retreats, and journaling to reconnect with her purpose. Music remained part of her life, but on her terms. She founded Soulbird, her own imprint, allowing her to release work independently. Her later albums, including Worthy 2019, reflect a woman who has reclaimed her voice and boundaries. Though no longer a fixture on mainstream charts, India. Ari's impact is lasting. She's a champion of truth in an industry often defined by illusion. Walking away didn't dim her light, it allowed it to shine brighter, unfiltered, and free. Cody Chesnu TT. Cody Chesnu TT burst onto the scene in 2002 with the headphone masterpiece, a bold, lo-fi double album recorded in his bedroom. With over 36 tracks blending R&B, soul funk, and rock, the album was unlike anything on the radio. His song The Seed caught the attention of hip-hop band The Roots, who remixed it into the now iconic track The Seed 2.0, launching Cody into sudden critical acclaim. Major record labels came knocking. Big tours, fat contracts, and fame were all on the table. But Cody shocked everyone. He said no. He didn't like the way the music industry operated. To him, it felt like a machine that prioritized profit over authenticity. He saw how easily artists became commodities, and how personal expression was sacrificed for commercial appeal. Instead of conforming, Cody walked away. He moved back into a quieter life, started a family, and focused on fatherhood. The choice wasn't rooted in fear, it was grounded in conviction. He wanted to raise his children with integrity and stay connected to his faith. Music was still part of his life, but it wasn't his identity. When Cody returned with Landing on 100 in 2012, it was on his own terms. The album was soulful, politically aware, and reflective of his growth. He didn't chase hits, he delivered truth. Fans praised him for staying real in an industry that often demands compromise. Cody Chesnu TT may have disappeared from mainstream view, but in underground and independent circles, he remains a legend. He proved that walking away from fame isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In preserving his voice, he preserved his soul. Amel Larrieux was never interested in being a pop puppet. As the ethereal voice behind the 90s R&B duo Groove Theory, she helped shape a fresh sound that blended soul, hip-hop, and jazz. Their 1995 hit, Tell Me, became a defining track of the decade, earning critical praise and commercial success. Fans expected her to ride the wave of stardom, but Amel had different plans. At the height of Groove Theory's popularity, she stunned the industry by leaving the group. It wasn't due to drama or scandal, it was about integrity. Amel found the pace and expectations of mainstream fame stifling. She didn't want to be packaged, commodified, or forced to create music that didn't resonate with her truth. Instead of chasing chart dominance, Amel founded Bliss Life Records, her own independent label. It was a bold move for a black woman in a male-dominated industry, but it gave her full control over her art. Her solo albums, including Infinite Possibilities 2000 and Bravebird 2004, showcased her unique fusion of soul, classical, and experimental sounds. While they didn't dominate radio, they built a loyal cult following who admired her authenticity. Amel's lyrics often explore self-love, motherhood, spirituality, and freedom themes that reflect her real life. She prioritized family over touring, choosing creative freedom over celebrity excess. She even homeschooled her children and shared her passion for wellness and holistic living. Though she's rarely seen on red carpets or in gossip blogs, Amel Larrieux is deeply respected in artist circles. Her music remains timeless, and her career path, self-directed and spiritually grounded, continues to inspire young indie artists. In an industry that rewards compliance, Amal chose independence. And in walking away from fame, she gained something even more valuable: artistic liberation. Terence Trent D'Arby, Sananda Maitreya. Terence Trent D'Arby exploded into the music world in 1987 like a comet, his debut album introducing the hardline. According to Terence Trent, D'Arby sold over 12 million copies worldwide and earned a Grammy Award. With his genre-blending style, raw emotion, and stunning vocal range, he was often compared to legends like Prince and James Brown. His hit single Wishing Well topped charts in the US, and critics hailed him as the next great soul icon. But behind the dazzling success, Terence was struggling. Fame came fast, and the industry expected him to keep delivering mega hits, but on its terms. He felt stifled, misrepresented, and spiritually fragmented. After years of internal conflict, he made a dramatic, almost mythical decision. He declared Terence Trent D'Arby dead. In 2001, he officially changed his name to Sananda Maitreya, explaining that Terence was a persona that no longer fit who he truly was. For many, it seemed bizarre or career-ending. But for him, it was rebirth, a way to escape the shackles of expectation and reclaim his humanity. Sananda moved to Europe, settling in Italy, and began recording independently. He built his own studio, produced his own music, and released multi-album projects like The Rise of the Zugibrian Time Lord's dense conceptual works, unconcerned with commercial radio or Billboard charts. He stopped doing mainstream interviews and refused to play the fame game. Though he disappeared from the public eye, he never stopped creating. To this day, Sananda Maitreya writes, produces, and releases music for a loyal international fan base. His journey is one of total reinvention, a rare, fearless metamorphosis in an industry that rarely allows second acts. By walking away from the name that made him famous, Sananda Maitreya didn't lose his legacy. He expanded it. And in choosing self-definition over industry validation, he became the master of his own myth. Tweet-born Charlene Keys soared onto the R&B scene in the early 2000s with her sultry genre-bending hit, Oops Oh My, produced by Timbaland and featuring Missy Elliott. The track, which candidly celebrated female sensuality and self-confidence, became an instant classic. Her debut album, Southern Hummingbird 2002, was both a critical and commercial success, showcasing her smooth vocals, acoustic sensibilities, and deeply personal songwriting. She was hailed as the next neo-soul star, admired for her vulnerability and raw talent. But while the world was watching her rise, Tweet was crumbling behind the scenes. Fame brought more than cameras and award nominations. It brought pressure to conform, to maintain a look, and to constantly produce. She was told to dress a certain way, smile when she didn't want to, and play a role that didn't fit her spirit. Tweet, a naturally shy and introspective woman, began to feel emotionally suffocated. Soon, the stress triggered deep depression compounded by health issues. She battled anxiety and began questioning her place in the music industry. Even with success, Tweet admitted she didn't feel fulfilled. She felt like she was losing herself in a system that didn't prioritize mental health or creative freedom. Instead of pushing through for fame's sake, she made a bold decision. She stepped away from it all. Tweet moved out of the spotlight, reconnected with her faith, and began healing. She found strength in her relationship with God and clarity in solitude. During this time, she also focused on family and self-care. Years later, she made a quiet return with Charlene 2016, a stripped-down, heartfelt project that reflected her growth and spiritual renewal. She no longer chased chart positions or radio hits. She sang when it felt right on her terms. Tweet's story is one of courage, not retreat. She chose emotional survival over industry approval, reminding us all that walking away doesn't mean quitting, it means choosing life. Donald Jones. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Donald Jones was a staple in R&B, known for his smooth, soulful voice and relatable love songs. Tracks like Where I Wanna Be, You Know What's Up and Shorty Got Her Eyes on Me made him a fan favorite. His ability to blend vulnerability with swagger set him apart in a crowded genre. By the early 2000s, he had several charting singles, gold and platinum albums, and a dedicated following. But behind his cool exterior, Donald was quietly battling personal demons. As his fame grew, so did the temptations of the music industry lifestyle. Constant touring, industry pressure, and a fast-paced life led him into a destructive pattern of alcohol and substance abuse. On the outside, everything looked polished. On the inside, he was unraveling. Donald reached a breaking point. He realized he was missing out on crucial moments with his children and that he was slowly destroying the very life his music had built. The turning point came when he decided that his well-being and fatherhood had to come before fame. He walked away from the spotlight, hit pause on his career, and entered a journey of self-reflection and sobriety. During his hiatus, Donald got clean, reconnected with his faith, and dedicated himself to being a more present father and son. He spoke candidly in later interviews about how fame almost cost him everything that mattered. His decision to disappear was not about failure, it was about healing. When he returned to music with Lyrics 2010 and 100% Free 2021, he did so with a clear message: he was back, but on his terms. The music was deeper, more honest, and spiritually grounded. Donald Jones didn't just survive fame, he outgrew it. His legacy isn't just about R&B hits, it's about the strength to walk away, heal, and return better than before. Sunshine Anderson. Sunshine Anderson made a powerful entrance into the R&B world in 2001 with her breakout hit, Heard It All Before. Her debut album, Your Woman, reached #2 on the Billboard Top R&B Hip-Hop Albums chart, and her sharp vocals paired with real-life lyrical content resonated with women everywhere. Critics praised her soulful sound, and fans expected her to become a long-lasting force in R&B. But just as quickly as she rose, Sunshine took a step back, leaving many wondering why she seemingly disappeared from the spotlight. The truth was simple and deeply human. Sunshine Anderson wanted to live a grounded life. While she appreciated her time in the industry, the chaos and pressure that came with fame clashed with her growing desire for stability. At the heart of her decision was motherhood. After becoming a mom, Sunshine reevaluated her priorities and realized she didn't want to miss her daughter's formative years for the sake of tours, appearances, or chasing the charts. In addition to focusing on parenting, Sunshine turned inward and found strength through her faith. She leaned into her spirituality, which gave her clarity and the courage to step away from the fast-moving industry. Sunshine also began exploring other ventures, building a life that wasn't solely defined by music. Though she never fully abandoned her art, Sunshine chose to create on her own timeline. She released her second and third albums, Sunshine at Midnight 2007 and The Sun Shines Again 2010, with more personal depth but less promotional pressure. Her story is not one of failure or fading. It's one of maturity. Sunshine Anderson showed the world that walking away from fame doesn't mean giving up. It can mean growing up, choosing wholeness over hustle, and defining success on your own terms. Chrisette Michele. Chrisette Michele had all the makings of a superstar. A unique voice that bridged gospel, jazz, and R&B, a Grammy Award under her belt for Best Urban Alternative Performance in 2009, and a series of critically acclaimed albums that showcased her musical brilliance. With hits like Be Okay If I Have My Way and Epiphany, she gained not just commercial success, but also industry respect. However, in 2017, Chrisette made a controversial decision that would dramatically change her career. She accepted an invitation to perform at Donald Trump's presidential inauguration. In a politically charged climate, her choice sparked immediate and intense backlash, especially within the Black community and the R&B world. Fellow artists distanced themselves from her. Her label reportedly dropped, her concerts were canceled, and social media turned hostile. The aftermath was devastating. Chrisette later revealed that the backlash led her into a deep depression. She experienced a miscarriage, battled suicidal thoughts, and felt completely abandoned by the very industry that once celebrated her. Despite issuing public explanations that her intention was to promote unity, her message was drowned out by anger and rejection. In the face of that pain, Chrisette didn't retaliate. Instead, she disappeared from the spotlight and focused on self-healing. She leaned into her faith, began therapy, and returned to her roots not just musically, but spiritually. She later re-emerged as an independent artist, releasing music through her own platforms and speaking candidly about her mental health journey. Though the spotlight dimmed, her voice remained not just vocally, but as an advocate for redemption and resilience. Chrisette Michel's story is a sobering example of how one moment can redefine a career. But it's also a testament to the power of perseverance. She walked away not because she had no choice, but because she needed to rediscover her strength and rebuild her life on her own terms. Claudette Ortiz. Claudette Ortiz first rose to fame as the sole female member of the early 2000s R&B trio City High, known for their socially conscious hit, What Would You Do? With her soft, melodic voice and striking looks, Claudette quickly became a fan favorite. Her voice brought emotional balance to the group's gritty, hip-hop-influenced sound, and many expected her to launch a successful solo career after City High's momentum faded. But instead of capitalizing on her fame, Claudette quietly retreated from the spotlight. Behind the scenes, she was enduring emotional turmoil. Claudette had dated both of her male groupmates, first Robbie Pardlow, then Ryan Toby, which led to personal conflicts that complicated the group dynamic. Combined with bad management decisions and industry politics, Claudette began to feel trapped in a system that didn't prioritize her well-being. Adding to the stress, she became a single mother of 3 and was raising her children largely on her own. The weight of maintaining a career in a cutthroat industry while juggling motherhood became overwhelming. Rather than force herself to fit into the demands of a mainstream music career, she chose to step away and focus on her family, her peace, and her emotional health. Years later, she re-emerged on the reality show R&B Divas, Los Angeles 2013, where fans saw a more intimate side of Claudette, the woman behind the voice. She spoke openly about her struggles with depression, rejection, and how fame didn't bring the happiness many assumed. Though she occasionally releases music, she no longer chases industry validation. Claudette sings when she feels inspired, not because she needs to stay relevant. Her story is one of quiet strength, a reminder that it takes courage to leave the noise behind and choose yourself. Bilal. Bilal Oliver, known mononymously as Bilal, was hailed as one of the most promising voices of the neo-soul era when he dropped his debut album Firstborn Second in 2001. With a voice that could shift from silky smooth to electrifyingly raw in seconds, he became a favorite among both fans and peers. His collaborations with icons like Erykah Badu Common and The Roots only added to his critical acclaim. But instead of following the path to R&B superstardom, Bilal made a move that baffled the industry. His highly anticipated sophomore album, Love for Sale 2006, was rejected by his record label, who deemed it too experimental and not commercial enough. The album was never officially released, though it leaked online and was adored by fans. It remained shelved, derailing what could have been his mainstream breakout moment. Disillusioned with the major label system, Bilal walked away from the traditional music machine. He turned to the independent scene where he could create freely without being boxed in. Albums like Airtight's Revenge 2010 and In Another Life 2015 were lauded for their bold creativity and emotional depth, even if they didn't get radio play or chart-topping sales. Bilal's artistry is rooted in integrity. He never compromised his sound to please executives. He refused to be just another R&B act. He wanted to be remembered as a fearless musical innovator. Though he doesn't command headlines or Grammy stages, he remains deeply respected by fellow musicians and loyal fans who understand his value. Bilal didn't fade away, he transcended the system. He proved that real artistry doesn't beg for permission. In stepping away from fame's spotlight, Bilal found something far more enduring: creative sovereignty. Lala Hathaway. Lala Hathaway, daughter of legendary soul singer Donny Hathaway, was born into musical royalty, and she carried that legacy with unmatched grace. From the moment she debuted in 1990 with her self-titled album Lala, proved she wasn't merely riding her father's coattails. Her velvety contralto voice, technical brilliance, and genre-blending style earned her widespread respect across jazz, R&B, and gospel circles. Over the years, she became known for her ability to sing multiple notes simultaneously, a rare skill called multiphonic singing, and her collaborations with musical heavyweights like Marcus Miller, Robert Glasper, and Snarky Puppy. She won her first Grammy in 2014 for Best R&B Performance and has since collected 5 in total. Yet despite her accolades, Lala Hathaway never chased fame. Unlike many of her peers, she opted for a deliberate low-profile career. She steered clear of the mainstream spotlight and chose not to be consumed by constant media exposure, red carpets, or industry trends. Lala focused on musicianship, not marketing. Her albums, such as Where It All Begins 2011 and Honestly 2017, showcase her technical mastery and lyrical depth, often blending elements of soul, jazz, funk, and electronic music. She's performed on smaller, intimate stages, led masterclasses, and stayed engaged with fans through live instrumentation and vocal storytelling rather than commercial hooks. She rarely engaged in drama industry politics or image reinvention, and that was intentional. Lala Hathaway's definition of success wasn't about chart positions. It was about impact, legacy, and authenticity. By walking away from the fame-centered path many expected her to follow, Lala carved out a unique and respected space in the music world. She proved that you can have a long-lasting, decorated career without being a tabloid fixture. In a business that often rewards flash over substance, Lala chose timeless artistry. Rez, pronounced Reese, born Cherise Renee Ballard, emerged in the early 2000s with a sound that was entirely her own. Her debut album How I Do 2001 seamlessly blended R&B, rock, soul, and hip-hop, a daring move in a music industry obsessed with categories. Critics praised the album's uniqueness, and tracks like Golden Boys and They Say Vision gained a cult following. Yet despite the album's artistic brilliance, her label struggled to market her. Rez didn't fit neatly into any genre, and radio stations weren't sure how to categorize her. The result: lack of promotion, label frustration, and an artist left in limbo. While fans and tastemakers embraced her originality, the industry turned its back on her simply because she didn't conform. Rather than compromise her artistry, Rez chose to walk away from the mainstream path. She left the label system focused on independent music and continued to release songs on her own terms. She toured with Gnarls Barkley and Talib Kweli, and often collaborated with artists who valued her creative freedom. Outside of the studio, Rez also modeled, explored film, and worked in creative fields that allowed her to stay close to the arts without being swallowed by the industry machine. She's spoken candidly about the emotional toll of being overlooked and underestimated, especially as a Black woman pushing boundaries. Despite never becoming a household name, Rez's impact is undeniable. Her debut album remains a cult classic, and her refusal to bend to industry pressures has made her an icon among artists who prioritize authenticity over applause. Rez didn't fade, she evolved. By rejecting the fame machine, she safeguarded her identity, her sound, and her soul. In doing so, she carved out a legacy as a fearless, genre-defying artist who walked away with her voice intact. Van Hunt. Van Hunt emerged in the early 2000s as one of the most promising new voices in soul and alternative R&B. His 2004 self-titled debut album, featuring standout tracks like Dust and Seconds of Pleasure, showcased his genre-bending approach that blended funk, soul, rock, and pop. Critics praised his originality and musical intelligence, earning him a Grammy nomination for Best Urban Alternative Performance. In 2007, he won a Grammy for his collaboration with John Legend and Joss Stone on Family Affair. However, Hunt's career took a turn when his record label refused to release his sophomore album Popular, deeming it too experimental. Instead of compromising his vision, Hunt chose to walk away from the major label system altogether. The unreleased album, a daring, genre-defying body of work, eventually leaked online and became a cult favorite among fans. Frustrated but undeterred, Hunt turned to the independent scene. He began releasing music through his own channels, writing and producing all of his work. His albums, including What Were You Hoping For 2011 and The Fun Rises. The Fun Sets 2015 revealed an even deeper, more fearless creative voice. Van Hunt never pursued commercial validation. While he could have chased radio hits and crossover fame, he made the intentional decision to protect his artistic autonomy. He remained under the radar for years, cultivating a loyal fan base and focusing on authenticity over applause. More recently, Hunt made headlines for his romantic relationship with actress Halle Berry, briefly returning to the public eye. But even then, he remained grounded in his music-first philosophy. Van Hunt's story is not one of industry rejection, but of deliberate rebellion. He didn't just step away from fame, he dismantled the idea that success requires conformity. In doing so, he redefined what it means to win on your own terms. Rahsaan Patterson. Rahsaan Patterson may not be a household name, but in the realm of authentic R&B and soul, he's revered as one of the genre's most consistent and respected voices. Beginning his career as a child actor on the hit show Kids Incorporated, Patterson transitioned into music in the mid-1990s with his self-titled debut album, which received critical acclaim for its smooth vocals and honest songwriting. Songs like Stop By and Where You Are showcased a fresh, soulful sound that set him apart. Though his debut didn't achieve massive commercial success, Patterson's artistry spoke volumes. His follow-up albums Love in Stereo, 1999, After Hours, 2004, and Wines and Spirits, 2007, were celebrated by soul aficionados for their sincerity and refusal to conform to pop trends. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Patterson never chased fame or mainstream validation. He stayed true to his vision, often blending gospel, funk, jazz, and electronic influences in ways that defied easy categorization. Patterson was more interested in making music that healed, uplifted, and resonated deeply with those who sought substance over flash. Throughout his career, he maintained an independent spirit, choosing artistic freedom over chart pressure. As a gay black man in an industry that often sidelines queer voices, Patterson embraced his identity with quiet strength and honesty, never allowing it to be commodified or hidden. While others sought magazine covers and award shows, Patterson invested in his craft, toured smaller venues, and built a devoted fan base who valued his raw emotion and vocal brilliance. His later albums, like Heroes and Gods 2019, reaffirmed that his artistry remained undiminished and as purposeful as ever. Rahsaan Patterson didn't walk away because the industry rejected him, he walked away from its expectations. In a world that often rewards spectacle over substance, he remained a beacon of soul integrity and unwavering truth. In a world where fame is often mistaken for fulfillment, these 20 R&B artists chose purpose over popularity, peace over pressure, and authenticity over applause. Their decisions to walk away from the spotlight weren't acts of defeat. They were declarations of self-worth. Whether driven by personal healing, creative control, or spiritual clarity, each story challenges what success truly means. At Legends of Black Excellence, we honor the courage it takes to step back and redefine greatness. Which artist's journey inspired you the most, and do you think walking away can be more powerful than staying in the game? Tell us below.